I will give you a brief summary about my graduation thesis, which was performed in collaboration with the company Innovation in Building and Maintenance. My thesis is called Energy Services in the Dutch Social Housing Sector, a benchmarking study on housing corporations in practice performance. Over the past decades, increased demand has led to higher energy prices. Research shows that there are several vulnerable groups for these increased energy prices. These are the lower incomes, the lower educated, and tenants. These vulnerable groups often find housing in the Dutch social housing sector, which is run by social housing corporations. Without investments in energy efficiency, about 80% of the social housing will no longer be within financial reach of its target group in 2030. However, housing corporations are hesitant to invest in energy efficiency. One important reason for the stalling investments in the sector is the split incentive. The different interests in improving energy efficiency for building owners, which are the housing corporations, and building users, the tenants. Nonetheless, higher energy efficiency demands additional investments in energy efficiency. Therefore, some suggest housing corporations to become active in the energy services, a service concerned with maximizing efficient and cost-effective supply and end use of energy for their customers. Energy services are often mentioned as a multi-purpose instrument which will help to overcome market barriers for energy efficiency. Energy services consist of two main business models. One is energy performance contracting, or EPC, which is aimed at reducing energy demand by the implementation of demand-side measures. The second one is energy supply contracting, which is aimed at energy delivery with the implementation of supply-side measures. Even though some housing corporations are already active in energy services, there still is a lack of knowledge about the possibilities, opportunities and barriers of these two types of energy services for housing corporations. Therefore, my research question was stated as, what are the effects of energy services on energy efficiency targets of energy efficiency projects in the Dutch social housing sector? The research methodology I used is data envelopment analysis, which enables the researcher to assess the relative efficiency of a homogeneous set of peer entities called decision-making units, or DMUs. The exact transformation process and considerations of the individual DMUs can differ. However, DEA enables the researcher to benchmark these DMUs by assessing the input and output of their processes, as long as these inputs and outputs are the same for every DMU. The research variables on which the DMUs are assessed are the cost of the efficiency measures per dwelling as input variable, and as output variable I assess them on the monthly savings on the total housing cost for the tenants, the energy index, which is a measure to indicate the energy efficiency of a dwelling, and the present value, indicating the additional income for housing corporations. I assessed 12 projects, of which 8 were energy performance contracting projects, and thus aimed on reducing the energy demand, and 4 of them were a combination of energy performance contracting and energy supply contracting, thus energy savings and energy supply. My research question was, what are the effects of energy services on the energy efficiency targets of energy efficiency projects in the Dutch social housing sector? Looking at the differences between energy performance contracting and energy supply contracting, we can say that both business models meet the current norms of the sector and the Dutch national government. However, important differences exist between these two business models which are of importance for the future. Energy performance contracting is relatively cheap and is able to generate quite some savings for the tenants. However, they only reach up to energy label B, and the housing corporations have minimal options to cover their costs. Energy supply contracting, on the other hand, is way more expensive and is able to generate less benefits for the tenants. However, with energy supply contracting, housing corporations are able to reach up to energy neutral standards and cover a far larger part of their costs. For the recommendations regarding the housing corporations, it is important that they adopt a long-term view on affordability and on total housing costs instead of short-term minimal improvements. Housing corporations should be more proactive and ambitious in bringing energy supply contracting measures. On the other hand, the Dutch national government should provide the policy space and the funding possibilities for these housing corporations to be able to do so. Also, they should state more ambitious energy efficiency norms to stabilize the housing costs. This was a short summary of my master thesis. For more information, you could also contact me on my email address, which is shown in the presentation. Thank you.